acquisition in ancient India. It reveals that the king did not own everything by default. Private property existed, and right to private ownership of land was honored. This is followed by a discussion into what had characterized ancient India, the echoes of which persist even in today, namely division of labor, Varna, and the prevalence of the Jati system in India. Satish shows how Kautilya's Arthashastra essentially narrated the responsibility of a welfare state. It was the science of political economy meant for facilitating a sustainable generation of the wealth for the economy, the sustainability in turn streaming from the provision of public goods, merit goods regulation, and use of common property resources and control of natural monopolies. Kautilya identified the sources of revenue and types of taxes that could be levied and even laid down norms for salaries of government employees. His theory of public finance was both comprehensive and probably the world's most ancient. There are several implications of ancient Indian economic thoughts in the current context. For instance, one of the greatest challenges before the world is that of growing inequalities leading to rising social disharmony. Satish advocates that inclusive policies, which cover the poor and the downtrodden without continuing to divide and categorize people into various castes, should be the way forward. He argues that some of the new schemes introduced by the central government, such as Jan Dhan Yojana, Mudra Yojana, and Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana and PM Kisan, are welcome initiatives focused on inclusive development of all marginalized communities. We need more of these. The book ends with a very innovative crossword puzzle that helps capture some important signposts of ancient Indian antecedents to economic thought. I did it myself as I wasn't sure if I were qualified enough to write this foreword. And I succeeded. I was happy to see that economic jargon was restricted to the bare minimum, so the book is accessible not just to readers with an economics background, but also to people like me. I am confident that this inspiring book will succeed in creating an enduring memory of the contribution of the ancient Indian literature on economic ideas. It is a must-read, and must-read for all. R. A. Mashelkar, Fellow, Royal Society, London, National Research Professor, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and President, Indian National Science Academy. Preface. Science without history is like a man without memory. Michael Ruse. As an undergraduate student of economics, we were prescribed Eric Roll's A History of Economic Thought, 1973, which focused mainly on mercantilists, physiocrats, and classical economists, while also making references to the Old Testament as well as Greek writers such as Plato and Aristotle. As an Indian student, I was, however, a bit disheartened to find no mention of any antecedents or elements of Indian economic thought, behavior, or thinkers. Perhaps they did not exist, or so I thought. In contemporary times, Nobel laureates Amartya Sen and Muhammad Yunus are well-known economists, among others from the Indian subcontinent. But as one goes back in time, the subcontinent's contribution to economics dwindles. Those who have studied the history of the Indian economy since the arrival of the East India Company know names such as Dadabhai Nauroji, M.G. Ranade, and Bhim Rao Ramji Ambedkar, but that's about it. One learns about the protagonist Kautilya from the Sanskrit play Mudra Rakshas by Vishakha Datta, Abhyankar and Abhyankar, 1916. Kautilya was the prime minister during King Chandragupta Maurya's reign. However, on reading the book Discovery of India, 1946, which Jawaharlal Nehru wrote in Ahmednagar jail, one realizes that Kautilya was not just an imagined protagonist of the play, but an important part of Itihas, a historical figure who lived in India in the 4th century BCE as well. This changed understanding was possible because only a few decades prior to the publication of Nehru's book, Concrete evidence that Kautilya